Hey everybody, and welcome to this second stream in which I'm going to focus on this new library from Project Sam. And let's first scale the input of the mic a bit. So yeah, I managed to test it a bit this morning here in Finland time, and this is my second session, so to speak. So I have some ideas already that what it can do and how to use it, but it's still very much like the beginning phase whenever with new libraries, because there is always like this phase where you're just browsing around and you don't have like really good idea that what are all the options and what kind of presets and sounds the library offers. So it's still very much like just exploring and finding the good options and figuring out that what would be the most reasonable way to use the library. And so far I have to say that I'm really pleased and happy with it. It's really efficient, which is one of the most important things for me as a composer, because currently the way I work and how I work is very much revolving around the idea of trying to be as efficient as possible, like producing new music and new tunes in very short time span. So any tools that can help me get more output and like allow me to process new music faster is always like very welcome addition to my tools at hand. And in this way I think the Project Sam Symphobia 4 is definitely one of the best libraries to have if one is going to focus on this kind of modern hybrid trailer-like intense cinematic music. It's definitely not a library for anything like happy and smooth and fun and joyful and whatnot. So it's definitely in the darker side of things, and it's probably quite hard to get it fit into anything like emotional or calm. So it's definitely more like intense library, but for anyone who is working on that kind of cinematic music that focuses more on the dark and epic side of things, then it's a really good option to consider. And I can show you this tune that I came up with just now. I think I made it from scratch and at the same time testing a bit this Vienna Ensemble Pro, which I haven't really been using that much, so it was something I wanted to try, and I think I will be using it more in future because it's really good. It's really good tool as well. The main difference between like not using it or using it is that it's more like a wrapper into which you can load all these contact instances and other sound libraries. And the basic idea of Vienna Ensemble is that if you have like multiple machine farm, you can connect the different machines together via Vienna Ensemble, so that for example my sequencer Cubase will see everything as like all of the libraries would reside on this one machine, the Cubase machine, but in reality they can be in different machines that are connected together in the local network. So it will sort of like allow the Cubase to load sampler libraries from other machines, so that Cubase doesn't really care where they actually reside. And that also makes the Cubase use a bit more simple, because in Cubase you only have like this one instance of Vienna Ensemble and nothing else, and then the actual contact instances are wrapped inside the Vienna Ensemble. So so that way you can sort of like separate the Cubase level from the actual sample handling and loading level. So for example, in this project I have like this Vienna Ensemble instance in which I have like a few different Contact instances loaded, and it looks very much like you would load anything inside Cubase, but it's just like its own window, and it's a bit tight here because I keep it in my other screen, which is like quite narrow, so hence it looks a bit funny here. But you can look through these different instances and point them to different outputs or buses, and then you can activate the buses here inside Cubase and mix them inside Cubase if you want, and so on. So it's definitely a step towards which I will be moving, because in future I might hey Jake, glad to see people joining the stream. So in future, when I will update my current studio machine, I think I will leave this one as it is. It's now about 3 years old, I guess, so it's pretty okay, but getting a bit old. I only have like 32 gigs of memory here, so in the next one I will definitely get at least 64, and I will probably do so that I will leave this one and get the next one, and then build a 2-machine farm out of them. So I will get a switch and connect them together inside this local network, and then I will be doing such that I will install all of the libraries to the new machine and leave all of the libraries that currently are on this machine, and then I will connect them with Vienna, and I will load most of the older libraries through this machine and only focus on the more modern and more heavy libraries on the new machine. So that way I will get like 100 gigs of memory to use and 2 CPUs to allocate the load. So it will make it possible to build way more massive tunes and templates in comparison to just single machine scenario. But anyways, currently I'm just using this Vienna Ensemble inside one machine, so it's sort of like not that, there's not that much point in it, but it's good to sort of like learn it already, so that it's more easy to migrate to that when the second machine exists. But yeah, regarding the Symphobia 4, like I said, it's really efficient and cool, and maybe it's best to first play the tune that I'm currently I created a moment ago. So I think that this tune I built from scratch in about maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes or something like that, but quite fast, considering that I had nothing when I started. So, and I was still learning the library, so for a person who would have worked with Symphobia 4 for a longer time, I think that it's realistic to say that this kind of tune one could come up with in just 20 minutes. So it's that efficient. It's insane, actually. It's insane that you can create this kind of sound in only 20 minutes. I think it's just, yeah, at least for me it sounds insane, but yeah, that's the reality. And let me just show you what I came up with. So this is everything. It's like only these tracks, and I have like only a few instances, and inside the instances I have like only a few instruments, so it's quite compact, and this is how it sounds like. yeah, it's pretty epic and and modern and hybrid, and but if you consider that if one would like to create a tune that would sound like this, and one would try to make it with sort of like the traditional normal orchestral libraries, at least for me it would require quite a lot of more time to set up all those swells and pulses and whatnot, so that it would fit together and sync together well. And like I said, I managed to create this in less than 40 minutes, and with practice it would be like 20 minutes or something like that. So for anyone who is like going to be working on anything that requires this kind of layers and pulses and build-ups and whatever, it's definitely one of the most efficient tools I've ever run into, because it's so easy to use and it's so efficient to build. And the beauty of it is especially this, that okay, currently I have like this 120 the tempo, and I can change it. Like if I just drop it to 100, I can just play it, and it should be so yeah, so everything works. Or if I speed it up, so that's the definitely one of the major like pros of this library, that it allows one to do whatever changes one requires to the project itself, and you don't have to really touch anything because it syncs automatically. So that's definitely something I personally like value, and I definitely hope that this will be sort of like direction that sample libraries in future will gravitate towards, because for me any tool that allows me to focus on just creating the actual composition and the music, and not spend time on anything technical and setup related and like manual tweaking, that's the way that I hope that I can work. So whenever I feel that I am spending time and effort on something that's not straight related to the actual music and the composition and the output, then I feel that I'm doing wrong things. I don't want to be like spending time on anything other than just focusing on the next part of the tune and getting it done. So in that way, I definitely think that the way Project Sam approaches these things is really good take. And yeah, I understand that there are probably some composers who think more in the lines of that you want to control everything, and you don't want to use tools that like do too much and are too strong in their presets, like that if you push one button too much things happen. I understand that for some that probably really I understand where they're coming from, but in this day and age, especially when not working on classical music but just like production music, I personally think that any tool that can make the work faster and more efficient is really valuable. So yeah, But I was thinking that I have some time here, so I will probably fiddle around a bit more and try to create even new tune after this one. So I will just save this as it is, and then I will just create a new one, and scrap this one, and wait a minute, what is this channel? Ah, yeah, this is the first channel, right. Okay, so then I'm going to fiddle around a bit more with this and use something that I haven't used yet. So let's start with this first. So I can also show a bit of my current understanding. So one of the fast things that allow one to move forward quite fast are, for example, these combos. So they're basically like these presets that combine a few different layers together so that you can easily just at the same time have different things going on. And I've tested only these few first ones, so I will just move onwards and try something else I don't know yet. So I have basically no idea what these are, but I will soon find out. So, and the general idea is that you can sort of define that how do you want the sync to happen. And at least currently for me, the way I approach it is that I feel that this downbeat kind of concept is really intuitive and cool. So the idea is that when you're playing, let's put metronome on as well. So I have to move this here for a moment because I otherwise don't see the things I want to see. Let's see. Sorry about this, I just here. Right. So yeah, so this one is like a combination of winds and horns and strings, and it has this concept of scary bends and swells. So there are 3 layers together. And now the sync, if I do it on downbeat, the idea is then that the project automatically syncs it so that if I have a bar going, within this bar, whenever I push the MIDI trigger, it will sync the swell so that it will have the climax on the next downbeat. So let me show you what that means. In this combo it's not probably the most clear cut, but visually, if I try to point it out, the idea is that as this is the bar and there is the next downbeat, if I start it here, the climax will happen here. So, but in this preset it's not that clear. I can show it more clear with the preset that has like more strong climax. But the idea is that if I move this, it will. You notice that it was faster and shorter because the climax wants to always happen here. So the less time that it has, the more short and intense it becomes. And once again, here is always the part where the swell sort of like comes down. So, and one option that I could do is that I could add some bars. So if I want to make it really much slower, then I can just state that hit point on next downbeat after one bar. So now I have like one extra bar in between. So then it would mean like here. Right. So it's really fast and easy way to set up the like the rhythm or sync between the different swells and raises and so on. So other options would be that instead of trying to tie it to the actual bar, you can just set up in beats. So if you start the MIDI in the middle of a bar, it doesn't really matter where the downbeat is, then it just counts the beats and so on. So it depends on how you want to approach it and how it fits your compositional idea. But for me, at least so far, I currently sort of like want to play with this downbeat idea, because that way it's easy to create those kinds of tunes like the previous one I just played, that there's like this sort of like basic pulse all the time going, and whatever you do, whatever you play, you just make it work in that pulse, because everything is always focusing on that next downbeat. So you can go crazy and build whatever you want, but because you are always syncing to the next downbeat, it automatically creates like this feeling that you have like 10 different layers going on, and every player knows where the next downbeat is, and everybody is focusing on that. So that sort of like creates automatically this kind of feeling that there is like this massive orchestral thing going on, and whatever happens, it's always like related to the next beat and so on. So for me, it's quite inspiring thing to like play around with, at least for the time being. So but yeah, this was sort of like this kind of a bit like not tight, so I'm not going to start with this. I want to find something that is a bit more like let's see. Yeah, for example, this sounds better. And here you can see how easy it is to create like variations of whatever they have like set up initially. So we have like 3 layers here: the high winds, the low brass, and the mid strings. And there are like different kinds of instrumentations here. So some are like based on that sync that you saw previously, but these don't have like that syncing idea. These are more like pulses, so it means that they don't care about downbeats, they care about what the pulse is, like rhythmically. So now it's like a combination of 3 pulses where this and this go on 8 notes, and this one goes on full note, or what are the English terms? So when you play, you hear that this one is like dum 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 dum, and these are like da 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 da. Yeah. So if I switch, so it's really trivial to create like these different variations and combinations out of these presets, and everything like makes it sound different. So you can also do triplets. So it becomes a bit like Philip Glass going crazy. And then another thing that really I enjoy is that they have like this quite cool concept that you have like certain keys that control the pulses, and then next to them you have the exactly same keys, but these are single strokes. So if I push this here, I can like create these manual accents on top of the pulse. So that way you can also easily like create variations of the basic pulse that is more like compositional instead of like just the preset as it is. So that's like really good idea in my opinion. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Okay. I don't want to go as Philip Glass as this. Yeah, let's try with this. One thing about this library is, of course, that it's definitely focusing on this distinct, quite narrow aesthetic. So basically, if you create stuff with Symphobia 4, it will probably sound quite similar, no matter what kind of tweaks you make. So it will definitely be quite recognizable. So that is one, I guess, challenge or problem with any sampler library, is that you have to accept that if you use it, it will sound like it. You can't make it like sound too much different from what it is. So definitely I think that Symphobia 4 is one of those libraries that after a while people will definitely recognize that, okay, that's Symphobia 4. But I don't think that it's like a too big of a problem. It's just that you have to figure out how to use it and how to get around with it, or make it sort of like acceptable, so to speak. Okay, let's try. intense. Now let's see. I have no idea about these textures yet. Let's see. No, I'm just a bit confused. Where am I? Am I here? Yeah. Okay, these are pretty wild. Maybe not the most. I don't think I won't be using those here. About this one. Let's see. Okay, let's try something else here. Yeah, I really like this efficiency here. Like it's just like plug and play, out of the box, just play, and everything sounds damn good. So you can just like come up with these crazy things in a matter of minutes. It's just insane. Anyways, let's continue. Yeah, I was looking through these pulses here. Let's see. Let's see what I had here. If I use these same ones. Yeah, it's cool that some of these presets have like these synth layers attached that you can trigger on and off. So for example, this kind of bass pulsing, it's actually really cool. Let's see. Where am I here? I'm just fooling around with this new library that creates these crazy things. Let's see. Yeah, I'm afraid so. This is not a library for anything calm or beautiful. It's definitely for this kind of really intense and dark stuff. So a bit different than what I usually on this channel do. But every once in a while I like to work on also like this kind of more dark and more intense material, but just have to always figure out where to and in what form to actually publish it. So it's something quite different from the normal like beautiful cinematic stuff that I mostly do. Bit of a contrast. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's if one does like too much of the same stuff, eventually you will run out of ideas, and you sort of like feel that whatever you come up with you have done before. So it's not like a really creative place to be. So sometimes it's really good to just do something totally different and have like a fresh feeling that this is something that I haven't been doing for a long time. So yeah, it's fun as well. I don't need those here. Let's see. Yeah, let's put this pulse here. I'm going to cheat a bit. Yeah. Okay. In the last few months, I've been basically focusing on libraries that have been with me for quite some time. This library I got like yesterday, so this is like today is the first time that I fool around with this, so it's really sort of like fresh, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I haven't been getting like many new libraries in the past half a year or a year or so. I'm actually running into a sort of like positive problem that I have. I'm running out of space on my hard drive, so there is not much that I can actually even get, because I'd have to figure out what to do with all the stuff that's already there, and so probably I won't be getting much new stuff before I get the new machine in future. So currently I'm sort of like, I have some libraries that I haven't really been using much, so I'd have to take the time to go through everything I already have and not get much more. But sometimes I just sort of like browse the demos of new libraries, and then when I get like this powerful enough feeling that okay, I really get inspiration from this, then I usually just get the library, even if I wouldn't necessarily exactly need it. Yeah, external hard drives are one option, of course, but USB 3 is quite fast, but it's eventually you will run out of external options as well, especially with audio work, because it's actually quite a lot of streaming that they have to do if you have like a big project. So it's a more matter of building a sort of like farm of from different machines that you link together if you want to scale it actually like beyond one machine system. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think it's pretty much done. I just add these percussion things in as well. Okay. Yeah, no worries. It's and I personally am not actually really tech savvy when it comes to like anything. I have like the basic knowledge of how the technical things regarding music production and audio like streaming works, but I don't really have really good knowledge about the intricacies. I just like more like have like my own experience and run into certain troubles and try to figure out how to like make things work, and then you get like this sort of like some kind of understanding that where the limitations are and what are the reasonable things to do. But yeah, I think that this is basically about it for this one. So I have like this concept album kind of idea that I want to make a short, maybe 7-8 tunes album, in which I only use this Symphobia and maybe some other layers, but it will be like a concept album that focuses on this kind of dark, sinister, tension-driven kind of thing. And I think that the concept might be related to this old miniature war game called Warhammer 40,000, which was this Games Workshop was the company, and they have like this Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and but anyways, the 40,000 was the one that revolved around these space marines, and it was, I don't know if it's still popular, if people play it, but it was quite popular, at least in the 90s, and there are quite a few video games that sort of like have a that are based on the realm and the fiction, and they have like licensed titles from Games Workshop. But anyways, I was thinking that this kind of sound, to me at least, it really reminds me of most of those Warhammer themed because the world in Warhammer is like grim and gritty, and there's not much like fun and anything. It's like even the heroes are like anti-heroes, so wherever you look it's just like war and tension and gore, and so no hope. so in that sense, to me, this kind of music and sound is definitely focused on that kind of dark side of fiction. So that was the first thing that came to my mind when I played around with this library, that hey, now it would be a good time to create a concept album that focuses on some kind of Warhammer theme. So it will probably be something in the lines of future skiffy war and space marines burning down heretics. Oh, you hate Warhammer. You hate the game, or the... Yeah, the Empire seems pretty shitty. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, you don't find anything like good in that realm. Yeah. But okay, I think I will be stopping this stream for now. I have to go to sleep soon, but thank you guys for watching, and hopefully if somebody was like trying to find out how this newest Symphobia works, you got some idea. And as a sort of like last expression after fiddling around with it for some times, I can recommend it. Of course, it's a bit pricey. There are cheaper libraries out there, but if you really want to focus on the sound that this library sort of like offers, then I don't think that you will find easily as good and efficient and fast libraries that allow you to create these kinds of tunes in this short amount of time, because basically I got the library like today or yesterday, but today I started using it, and today I've managed to create like 3 tunes. They are not the most complex tunes, but still in one day I've done 3 tunes with this library, and they sound in my opinion like good enough for many like reasonable uses. So not many libraries can allow you to do so much in so little time. So that's definitely a big thing. But yeah, cheers. I will probably stream something in the near future as well. So let's see how it goes. Maybe something with this once again, or maybe something totally different. But let's see how it goes. Yeah, cheers. See ya.